Good morning and welcome to another action-packed edition of Sporty Monday, your number one destination for stories behind the scorelines, where passion meets perspective. Today, we dive into a weekend of big moves and bigger statements, from Harambee Stars firing blanks in Morocco to Kenya Police tightening their grip on the FKF Premier League title, and Beatrice Chebet inching closer to rewriting global history. And it doesn't stop there. We unpack Kenya Pipeline's epic volleyball triumph, rugby's boardroom bombshell with Sasha Mutai's resignation, and the Kenya Diabetes Study Group bold new playbook of mixing medicine and movement by holding their first ever Sports Day. As always, I've got my panelists here and ready to break it all down. Joining me in studio is Steve Shitera on my immediate right. Then we have Japheth Munyendo. Good morning.
Good morning.
And also now we have Zedekiah Otieno.
Morning.
Morning to you. And on the scoreboard, we have Zita Jimoi. Zita, good morning. What do you have for us?
Good morning. Of course, let me start by congratulating the GOAT for winning the UEFA National League. Of course, now he has 938 goals. Road to 1,000 goals. Let's see if he will reach the 1,000 goals. And again, of course, he on this side will be telling about this volleyball stories. Of course, GSU, congratulations for winning the men's league. And then again, Kenya Pipeline for winning the women's league. But we'll be giving you all these in details here at the scoreboard. Back to you, Orandi.
Well, indeed, let's look at our question of the day. We're asking you today, what changes would you wish to see at Kenya Rugby Union KRU? What changes would you wish to see at Kenya Rugby Union KRU? Send your feedback on X at Citizen TV Kenya. Facebook, it is Citizen TV Kenya. Hashtag Sporty Monday. And we'll be reviewing your responses as you go along with this show. Plus, we go to poolside with two key figures from Kenya Aquatics. That is the liaison officer, George Monene, and executive committee member Winfred Waroi. Also, we'll call her Winnie Waroi on this show. Joining us for a quick fire chat on why Kenya's swimming scene, despite its raw talent, just isn't making waves fast enough. Welcome, gentlemen and lady. We'll be joining with you in the few on the quick fire segment. I'm your host, Wycliffe Orandi, sitting in for one Isaac Swila-Tijan, who's a bit under the weather, but he's recovering well. Let's kick off this show with looking at matters to do with Harambee Stars. I want to start with you, Zed. You can just have a brief introduction of, because you're joining us for the first time today. Just introduce yourself, and after that you can tell us what is your general perception about Harambee Stars' goalless draw with Chad.
I'm Zedekiah Otieno, not from football, but basketball. I'm also assistant coach, U16 national team. My take on Harambee Stars, I think Coach Benny is rebuilding, but I think Kenyans don't have the patience. We need to start getting wins. That is what can build our confidence as we head to Chan. Remember, he has picked a draw, a loss, another draw to a low-ranking team. It's good you're possessing the ball. We are still weak on attack because you're not clinical in our finishing. And I believe if we are able to do that today, make sure that we convert our clear chances, then we should be like setting ourselves for good or for better times in the next coming matches.
Yeah, Shitera, nil-nil is never a scoreline that Kenyans, as Zedekiah said, we are a very impatient nation. A nil-nil is not a score that will get Kenyans excited. But looking at that goalless draw, do we look at it as a promising kind of a draw, or more concerning as far as the coaches? This was his third match in charge.
We can never be promising drawing Chad, who I think position 177. Yeah. 177. You see, I would equate that to msemo ya street yenye inasema ni kama kwenda kuchota maji kwa gunia. Yes, you have the purpose, umeenda mtoni, but chombo chenye unatumia kukuja nacho maji nyumbani hakitakufikisha. Utachota maji ndio, but maji kwa gunia hautafika nyumbani. Msemo mwingine pia wa Jeff, very famous. Nafikiri aliulizwa, unaweza kula matumbo? I think his answer was very straight. Why? Why play a team that is position 177? Yeah. For what purpose? Yes, we are playing, yes. What do we want to achieve? You see, these are the statements and the standards we should set. That if you want to rise in the FIFA ranking, you can only play a team that is above you. It gives you a challenge. What challenge are we getting from Chad? And these tournaments that look like sponsored only to give you a participation certificate, to me, they are never healthy. Let us look for challenging opponents that will improve our status. Yes, we will give Coach Benny McCarthy time to rebuild. But remember, we tried this. We gave Engin Firat so much time to build. We gave him so much time. We were so patient with him, only to be knocked out of AFCON 2025 that will be held later this year in Morocco. So in my view, I think the impatient Kenyans are very right, because when you employ a coach, you need results. Why did we fire Engin Firat? We needed results. If it is the same string of events, then we should have stuck with Engin Firat to build, because at least he had rebuilt. So the next step is to build. Looking at the squad, I think it's where our deficiency is, because today we are with a striker, Benson Omala. Tomorrow he is out. The other day we are with Olunga, who has been very inconsistent with the Harambee Stars. The other day is out. So we do not have a consistent squad that we can count on. Because I remember the times of the late Renard Fabish when he took over from Harambee Stars, Miroslav Vojo, Serbian, Yugoslavian. He built a team from a very from a team that you could count on for some years to come. Yes. You all remember Eric Ochieng Cantona, because he played for a very long time. Yes. You all remember John Baresi Odhiambo, because he played for a very long time. So if you are telling me that you want to rebuild, then look for a younger squad. And to me, I will go for the squad that went for the AFCON. Kina Tyrone Karaoke. Yeah, Eldrin Kibet. Rebuild with them. Start with them. Start with a team that will have the face of Chan. Yes. Bajaber of Kenya Police. The other guy from Shabana. A very young and lean squad that will give you a hope for the future. I saw former captain Victor Wanyama recalled. Then he withdrew. Yes. You see, you are not certain with your squad. So an advice that I will give to Coach Benny McCarthy: start young, you will grow.
Indeed, Shitera is talking about trying to rebuild a team from the youngsters up. But maybe how important are the veterans? We have people like Abu Domar, we have Brian Mandela. How important is it to incorporate them in such a team with the youngsters as well? Because I think they also need guidance. They need someone to look up to. They need that kind of experience among them. How important is it to include such players?
It is true. It is true. We cannot underscore the importance of experience when rebuilding. But he mentioned something spectacular when he mentions about the second tenure of Coach Reinhard Fabish. When Fabish came, Kenya had just beaten Algeria, and now he took over from Vojo. Coach Vojo had a squad of veterans, and Fabish overhauled the whole squad. And at that time, during those days, the federation sometimes will summon up the players. And what Fabish did, he was so daring, bold, and went for the unknown names. There was normally a joke that the Harambee Stars is a reflection of Jogorod. But Fabish now went to people like unknown names like Kennedy Simiyu, the one who scored during the Nigerian match. Yes, he went to the Baresis, to the Eric Omondis. Of course, Musa Otieno was the only person who was retained. What does it tell you? By retaining Musa Otieno, it was so important to blend the experience that had been summed up. But again, what quality of experience are we speaking of? Sometimes you can be a veteran with a very bad experience. You're not of good exemplary implication. I mean, these young ones...
Well, the time you're called a veteran,
yes, these young ones,
so new.
The young ones who featured at the under-20, already they are getting their own experience. Life itself offers its own experience. There are no rules of gaining experience. You're given a platform, you're supposed to perform. Football, you can be given 2 minutes, and in the 2 minutes, coach in basketball will confirm with us, you can be given and for the record, I played basketball against him. I used to score against him. You can be given 2 minutes.
Bring the videos.
Yes, you can be given 2 minutes.
Yes.
And you cause an upset to the opponents to the extent that now you are retained.
But Jaber did.
Yes, Bajaber did. Even though for now he's injured, he's suffering from an injury. So
No, in the qualifiers.
yes, in the qualifiers. Few minutes. I think there's need to be, the coach needs to be open-minded.
Yes.
We must not reinvent the wheel. We must not necessarily do things that other developed jurisdictions do.
Yes.
We can build from unknown to known. Look at what Spain is doing. They are building
yeah, we should talk about that.
and they are raising up a very, very consistent team.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, it's important I mention this.
Yeah.
Even though we picked a draw against Chad,
Yes.
I know Kenyans, we are very impatient. We're impatient, but I'm not even sure if we have a football culture. Are we even a footballing team? Do we even have a football philosophy? What do we build? Are we playing attacking football, possession? You know, I just sit with people in Kenya, we lament, coach aende, midfield imekufa. In fact, the most technical assertion I hear people critique our style of play is midfield imekufa, striker fanye chochote. So we do not even have a philosophy.
Yeah.
If we want to establish some of these important things, I am a key student of history. I'll refer you back. Sometimes in early 70s, we had Olympic youth centers. The products of the Olympic youth centers, which we worked through with the German development bodies, was able to help us have great players who dominated in the Sekafas in 80s. That squad, the impact of that squad was felt up to early 90s. Then, if we can borrow a few notes from, I know we are not so good in terms of data retention regime, but there's some few notes which we can scribble on how Fabish and the then FKF, as led by Nyamoya and Peter Kenneth, performed. So, lastly, on this match of Chad, at least now we did not concede. We've been conceding heavily since the incoming of McCarthy. Gabon 3-3. Not Gabon, was it Gambia?
Gambia 3-3.
Yeah. Then Gabon 2-1. Now this time around, we can clap for the goalkeeping and the defense unit. At least we did not concede.
Against who?
It doesn't matter. It was an opponent. We are not playing against
a very weak opponent in the FIFA rankings.
But they are playing football. Are they playing
a very weak opponent in the FIFA rankings?
But when you look at their record,
you need to give me a minute.
When you look at their record, even in the qualifiers,
please protect me from
Shitera
Shitera so that I complete in the next 1 minute to allow Zita to proceed. Secondly, this friendly, it is as a result of some of the bilateral relationships that the current federation is forging with other federations.
Yes.
So I do not think we spent much in meeting that fixture. So when we forge such relationships, they are key and important. Remember, even the AFCON under-20 side, we were supposed to have played there for some friendlies. These are very important forums to help expose our players to some of these infrastructures. Indeed. And then thirdly, we do not have the requisite facilities sometimes for some of these young ones or even the established persons to feature in. So when we're exposed, now the players get the experience. Lastly, but not least, I am thrilled with the inclusion of the likes of Moses Schumer. The last collapse have not necessarily been reflecting the conduct in the manner of the way our league is. We've had some of our top league scorers not even being summoned up for the national team. But with the summoning of Schumer, the Kakamega homeboy striker, I mean, it gives me a reason to think that there'll be some transparency in terms of summoning up individuals for national team calls up.
Yeah, indeed. Lastly, Zita, I want you to maybe just touch on credentials of Benny McCarthy as a coach. He's been. I don't think he has been having a stellar career as a coach. Look at when he started at Hibernian, then went to St. Triden in Belgium. He did well with Amazulu in South Africa and was sacked from Cape Town City, I think. How has his credentials been as a coach? Is it someone we expect really we can rely on to take us maybe to the World Cup in 2026?
I hope he wasn't called because maybe the friendship they have with some of the senior officers in the federation, and I know. As much as, of course, it was the one who was chosen. Of course, other people have applied, and then maybe they thought it's a good thing to choose him because of the exposure in Europe and being a part of the Manchester United coaching system. So I think they wanted to bring maybe that exposure, the Europe exposure here in Kenya. But again, as we've said, Kenyans, we are not patient. We always want results hapa. Even in the hata kwa president tunataka result leo, umesema leo, kesho tunataka hiyo result tuone. So Kenyans, we don't have that patience. So at the end of it, I know I was there when he was being unveiled, and he was told these things. You'll be fought online, and we don't have patience. You have to give us results. And we can see what is happening, and now people are starting thinking twice about him. But again, let us just give the coach time. For me, I think one thing that I was looking forward is for him to be part of the under-20 that went outside, because when you have and when you're being part of the system of the under-20, you will know the players you will call up for the senior team. So I want the federation to make him maybe even to be the senior coach of the under-20 team, maybe even the under-18 team, because so that he can learn these kids very well and bringing them into the senior team. Just watching the matches of KPL, most of them they're not being aired. Most maybe they'll air one or two games from the other teams. But again, I will just want him to be part of the system of football in Kenya, so that he can understand more players. He can know who player to call. He can know even the senior players. As you've said, you can be called as a senior player, but your record is not making you be a leader to others. So I think he just have to be part of the system of the players.
And this is what Benny McCarthy had to say after that particular friendly with Chad in Morocco. Let's listen to that.
First match together, first match for most of these players. So you could see there's still a bit, we need to understand each other better and that. But I think in terms of when you dominate a match like this, you know, then you obviously have to be very, very disappointed that you didn't win, that you didn't score goals, because it was so easy for us to play. They sat back very low, defended the middle of the pitch, and then, we're just not patient enough. And I think, for me, the biggest disappointment is the fact that we didn't score.
Indeed, that is